Hello, everyone. This is Monsef Afker, and thank you so much for joining us in this new call of Your Divine Uniqueness. So, yeah, happy to have you with us again, whether live or on the replay. So, thank you for sharing with us this time, for sharing with us your beautiful energies. And yeah, also very excited that Sarah Ellingworth is with us for the first time. Um, yeah, really excited about the experience we will be having with her um, today because as we say, like the subject is very important and also her healing work and yeah, her healing work is really profound, very powerful, and it takes courage to do such work because it's she really helps us to go deep into the shadow aspects of ourselves, or maybe how they're like really clear and face the interferences or maybe beings or entities who are maybe interfering with the way we are trying to create the energy that we are trying to emanate to the world. And because many times we try to do that on our own, and then at certain point of time, it feels very challenging, very maybe at times scary, and then we just how to say like from my experience, like at some point I needed some support along the way so I could move to the next step and move forward in my path. And yeah, so the work that Sarah is doing is really powerful, and I believe like it can create like a very deep healing and clearing. And so for those of you who are new to her, she is a Master Energy Practitioner of the healing arts, intuitive healer, and also she does shadow work. And the topic for today's call is entity and dark force interference, clearing the shadows of fear. And so yeah, she will be sharing about that, about like how the entities, discarnate and dark forces can interfere, and also how we can remove that connection and be sovereign. The subjects many times create maybe a little bit of fear, but when we embrace our sovereignty, we can see the truth behind that, and like these energies cannot have like a really true power over us. And yeah, also she will guide us through a live group clearing. So, and yeah, those of you who are attending live and also on the replay, like everyone who is listening or watching can really benefit from that clearing, and it will be about the shadow of the energy shadow of fear and entity clearing. So yeah, and then toward the end of the call, as always, we'll have a Q&A where you can ask Sarah your questions. So for that, you can raise your hand by pressing reactions, then raise hand on Zoom. If you are on the phone, you can raise your hand by pressing *9. And also you can type your questions on the chat boxes on Zoom and on YouTube. And yeah, so with that, Sarah, welcome to the show. Very happy to have you with us today.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you for having me. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. And yeah, you touched on some really important points there when it comes to dark force and entities and all of those types of interferences. They'll fight to keep their hold on whatever it is that they're feeding off. So there is definitely it can be very difficult. You can do it on your own, but at points that many times, even myself, I have needed help in shifting these types of interferences. And one of the biggest things I realized as I started to learn this work, or the depth of this type of shadow work, was how much interference we have as humans, and they can access us predominantly through fear. That's how they're not creating anything within us. We've created it, but they're feeding off it. That it's a source of energy for them. So they will fight to the death to keep their food source. And you're right, it does. It takes a lot of courage and a lot of effort to really show up, because doing the shadow work on its own is big enough, and that can be very confronting and challenging to do. But then when you're coming up against the interferences that are trying to hold on to those frequencies, it adds this extra layer of things you've got to push through to get to the real source of what's going on. So that's where this type of work is hugely beneficial, and it just can cut through a lot of stuff very quickly. This particular component of healing, so clearing and removing interferences, is only one aspect of energy healing, or one aspect of the approach that I take, but that on its own can sometimes create quite big shifts, and instantly you feel it instantly, this release or the space that you have then within you. And it's just one part of it. It's not even clearing a frequency, it's just the interferences that are holding it, embedding it, and perpetuating it, or making it feel more, they exuberate the emotion or the thoughts. And like I said, they do that to really protect the energy, keep you where they've got you, so that you don't dare create change or find your power, keep them out, all that sort of stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah. Uh, Beautiful. And how can we know if there is interference or not, like from maybe our thoughts or feeling or maybe our actions as well?
Yeah. It can be challenging to figure that out, particularly when you're really stuck in the moment of the emotion or the thought. And like I said before, it's something that you've created, but they exasperate it. So let's say you get triggered by someone or a situation, or it can be as simple as you're carrying all your shopping and you're trying to get inside and you drop your keys, and then you just have this wave of irritation, frustration, anger come over you. So that frequency is already there, but then it's just gone vroom and really blown out. And so that's how they can manipulate your thoughts and feelings to create more energy for themselves. Does that make sense? So it's not that they're creating, they're feeding off and exasperating on a frequency that's already within us. So they sit in the mental body, they sit in the emotional body, they can sit in the physical body. Like, there's no limit to where they can sit. They can even sit on the external of our being. So that can also be quite difficult to find them. They'll hide. They can live in aspects of our being, in between organs, those sorts of things. So let's say it's a thought, and let's say we're struggling with depression and we're having really depressive thoughts. They only need a slight opening in your energy and they swoop in, if that makes sense. And you can pick up an entity or a discarnate at the supermarket. Like, it's a very natural part of our sort of ecosystem of duality on the planet. So I sort of say that so that people don't have fear of them. They're very normal part of the planet and being here, but it's how much access we allow them to have by taking responsibility of our thoughts and feelings. So when we're unconscious or very reactive to ourselves and life, they have sort of free reign, or they have more access. So yeah, you could be at the supermarket and again, something happens or you get triggered, you have a reaction, and they're hanging off the person next to you, but then all of a sudden they get a whiff of you, or they can sense or feel your wounding or your emotions or your thoughts, and there's like, oh, there's more juice over there. So they'll hook into you and start and embed themselves in you. And then that's it. They're with you until you clear them or you get rid of them. So, or until they find another stronger, more potent food source. So, how we can, I don't want to say protect ourselves, because again, that's sort of operating from a space of fear. It's not something you need to protect. It's about raising your vibration. So becoming really aware and conscious of your thoughts and feelings. And that's not to say that you can't have challenging thoughts and feelings. You absolutely can. And that's doing the shadow work, is really sitting with that part of yourself. But it's sitting with it and processing it, understanding why it's there, and exploring that, and then releasing that through the process as well. So then you can have your challenging thoughts, you can have your emotions, you can have your anger or your frustration, and you process it in a healthy way and release it. Then you're removing the food source for them. Let's say you are in a whirlwind, in a bit of a flurry with your thoughts and feelings, and you're unable to tell who's what, when, where, with all of the noise that's going on and the overwhelm of the feeling and the thoughts. If you're in the middle of it at that point, what you can do, there's a couple of things actually. So one of the things you can do, I don't know if whoever's familiar with energy healing techniques, but I'm going to give you one right now. So a really common one is working with the white flame. So this is super simple, super easy, and anyone can do it. And you're simply working with the energy of divinity in the form of flame. Well, that's how you're channeling that energy. So you can whoosh it right through your whole being, and you command that energy, that entity, the discarnate, whatever you think that it is, or you can just command that thought, the thought entities, the thought elementals get into the flame, and they're actually, it's almost like a suction. They're just sucked right out. They're just whooshed up and taken back to source or light, wherever they belong. You don't even, you just hold the frequency that they're taken back to source. And that will again happen really instantly. The only reason it wouldn't, well, there's a couple of reasons that they wouldn't move if there's some type of contract or agreement that you've made to give them permission, or there's something else that they're hooking into, that's not the actual true source of what they're embedded into your being with. But generally, when you're feeling a particular, like you can tune into what you're feeling, and anything, any entity, any dark force, any discarnate, hooking into the frequency of anger or frustration, get in the white flame now. And you can spin it out, whoosh it out, see how that goes, have a play with it. This is all about empowering yourself to take your power back in the moment and calm the thoughts, calm the irrational or overblown reaction that you're having, to come back to why you're really having that reaction. So this is just taking out the extra noise. The other thing that you can do if you've got the time and space is just coming back into your heart center and feeling divinity within you, feeling into the truth of who you are, which is a divine being, and just anchoring in source, divinity, God, whatever you want to call it. You are breathing that into your body and feeling that move through your whole being. So as you do that, you're raising your vibration. So it doesn't matter. There's nothing you need to do with these beings being there. They're not going to be able to stay with the increased vibration of your being, and you're doing it purposely, consciously, and you're doing it in the moment. So if you've got the space, I would definitely recommend doing that. You can put those two techniques together as well. So you can feel into your divinity, amplify the heart, the love, your God self, and then bring in the white flame for extra oomph and spin it out. So there's a couple of ways that you can do it. You will still be left with the emotion, because the emotion is yours, but it's the extra blowout, it's the extra noise, it's the exasperation that they create, the overwhelm, the feeling stuck. And we can all feel like that, particularly when we're having challenging aspects of mental health or feeling overly emotional. This just sort of quietens how much noise we're feeling, so that we can actually sit with that emotion and understand why we're feeling it, and again go back into that healthy practice of feeling it, understanding why it's there, where did this come from, and then releasing it in healthy ways. So it gives you the space to do that. What the entities and the interferences want is for you to stay stuck, stay overwhelmed, and that's the space of disempowerment. So no, we're not doing that. No more.
Thank you so much, Sarah. And yeah, I love like the way that we can approach that you mentioned, that like the energy healing. And also when like a question like regarding approaching these subjects or how we react to it, it can be sometimes feeling like a victim, or feeling anger, or maybe just trying to fight with them. And maybe is there also another way like that is more empowering, and less fearful, the way like we can approach those beings?
Yeah. So I think, again, like I said before, that I sort of describe them as flies. They're not always flies, and sometimes they're a bit more, I don't know, a bit more intense than a fly. But I describe them like that so that people don't have that sense of fear. Anything of a dark force nature can be really intimidating. That's how they want it. Because again, they're going to fight to the death to keep the energy that they've hooked into within you. So I totally get the victim consciousness where you're feeling stuck. You are feeling like you don't have the power, you don't have the energy, you don't have the oomph. And if that is the case and you can't get out from underneath it, then I would say you need to book a session, because this type of frequency, it is really difficult to shift this on your own. And even if you shift it, if you haven't removed the food source, as in the frequency, the belief, the emotion, or the thought stream, then they're just going to come back in. So that, if that makes sense, that's where I would say really the most practical option, I would say at that point, is actually to book a session so that you can get help and assistance in clearing those interferences. What that can do is then create space within you to be like, oh, okay, there I am. I can breathe. I feel better. I feel clearer. I feel lighter. Okay, now what do I do? What do I do now? Okay, I'm feeling into, why is this here? Why am I feeling this way? And you can actually do the proper work. You can get to the frequency. You can get to the source to shift it. And then, as you know, if you were doing a session with me, I'd then be giving you, I'd be coaching you or mentoring you through raising your vibration and how to align yourself to a higher frequency so that they have like less access to you. When we come to looking at the victim consciousness, the biggest block there is recognizing the fight within yourself and the part that you are playing or contributing to that. Because when we're in victim consciousness, we can become very addicted to our story, and that's the suffering or the drama, or, if that makes sense, it's the addiction of the frequency that we're getting out of it. So for people in that space, it's almost like, I would say, you need to take a blind leap of trust that there is more to you than what you're currently experiencing, and you have the power to create change, and you absolutely can do it. Even if you can't feel it, it's almost like that fake till you make it. Just it's the courage. I mean, and again, working with someone can help you get there. Like, there's lots of clients that I've worked with who have been in that space. And that's where someone will carry it until you can hold it yourself, if that makes sense. We need help. Like, we need help in shifting some of the weight that we're under until we get to a point where we're like, oh, okay, I can feel myself now. I can feel my emotions. I have the clarity. I have the capacity. So I think that, again, comes down to a space of maturity, emotional maturity, spiritual maturity, to know what our limits are. I mean, this is a concept that, when we're talking about interferences and dark force interferences and entities and discarnates, not everybody knows that this is a thing. Like, a lot of us do in this community, but when we're talking about the masses and, you know, just common behavior, not everyone knows that this is an interference that's impacting how they're feeling. So they just feel stuck. They don't know what to do. They don't know that they can get help in shifting this. So yeah, I would say, if there's anyone who's not sure within themselves, even right now, if they're not sure within themselves, one, try those techniques. Anyone can do them. Literally anyone can do them. You are a divine being. You have a heart, you have a heart center, you feel into it, you feel into the love that you have for your life, for your people, your pets, your home. Anything that activates the heart, that generates your strength, that generates your light, it increases your power. And then from there, you keep doing one thing at a time. So just breathe in, expand your light, breathe into your God self. Again, it's almost like fake it till you make it, which I have done before when I needed help, and my relationship with divinity was still a work in process. But when I needed help, that is literally what I called for, and it was there. So that was part of, I guess, the trust building. So there's always ways we can help ourselves, but if you're really stuck in how to do that, or show up, or have the strength or the courage to do that, then there's so much available. There's even tons of free content online on YouTube. There's so many healers available now where we can get help. And it is a thing. It is a thing, entity interference, dark force interference. When we can clear that, again, like I said, we have more space within ourselves to actually reach the truth of what's really going on.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much. And yeah, I want to comment on something you mentioned, that's we can get addicted to the discomfort or the unease. And yeah, sometimes I get really surprised how quickly we can create safety zone around that. And especially like when I feel it's the right time to shift, to move on, or to change the situation. And it like in toward the end, it feels like there is some kind of sadness that it gives some hope. Maybe the person will change, the situation will change. But I know deep within that it's time to move on and to go to the next step. But yeah, probably like you said, like as as we do the energy healing and we work on that, at some point we start getting aware. We become aware of what is happening, and we know what's how to say, like what is true and what is more like interference. And also the decisions become maybe easier to take. But before, it's like we can have difficulty making choices in our life.
Yeah, it does. It requires consistency through the healing process. And again, becoming really aware of yourself. So that self-awareness piece and how you're feeling and what you're feeling and why. So the deeper you are connected to you and and your belief systems and how you show up and how you behave, the more you can observe yourself and what's going on internally, then the more capacity you have to see when there's an interference. You'll have a thought and all of a sudden you'll just be like, oh, that's weird. Like, why? Where did that come from? Or why am I thinking that? And that develops into yeah, that's not me. You got to go. And that still happens. I'm human. I've got emotions. Like, I've still got frequencies going on. Like, as soon as I have a thought, and what they try to do actually is they'll try to distract me, which is disempowering me in the moment. I might be having a conversation with someone and something happens, or I see something or I hear something, and it's just an attempt to disempower me and distract me from what I'm doing or who I'm speaking with. And so they just get like whooshed out straight away because I know what's going on. That wasn't always the case. That's developed within me, the awareness, the capacity even to be working energetically as I'm having a conversation with someone. That's, a completely different level. But the more you attune to yourself, the more depth you have in your self-awareness, your connection to what you're feeling and how you're feeling and why. When something shows up and it's not familiar, or this is a negative or it's an old pattern that you've been working on and it's getting louder, I can promise you it's going to be from interference, that it's getting louder on purpose. Like I said, they will fight to the death to keep their food source. So you can take that as a good thing. It's a compliment to the work that you're doing, that they're reacting. They know that their food source is going to get cut off and they're going to get evicted. So they're going to do what they can to keep it. So the more familiar you are with yourself, your thoughts and feelings, the more you become aware of when it's not from within you. And that can still be a tricky process. There's no right or wrong. It's just constantly evolving, growing, developing awareness, developing your strength, developing your courage. And the reason I say courage there is because you might have a thought or a feeling that is of your shadow aspect that you don't want to look at, that you're like, oh, well, that's an entity, but it might not be. That might actually be a part of your shadow that needs to come forward for healing. So there's no right or wrong in the fact that that's there. But then when you pull it forward and have a look at it and unpack it and clear it, understand it, heal it, if you have any entities that are hooking into that, when it comes forward, you'll be like, I know I've shifted this. I know I've worked on it. It might not be completely gone, but it's not that loud. It's not that forceful in my energetic field to have that much sway. You've got to go. So again, then you can do the clearing piece, and then you're just left with what's you, the thoughts and the feelings that you have created from your belief systems, if that makes sense, because they can only access us through the frequencies that are already here. They're not creating it. They're feeding off it. So when we clear them out and we reduce the food source that they're working on, which is the lower vibrational thoughts and feelings and beliefs, then there's less for them to grab into. The more our vibration goes up, again, there's less for them to grab into until it gets to a point where they actually just can't access you at all. And then, we're talking about common entities and discarnates. There's different types that will be attracted to light. So the higher vibration you go and the lighter you go, that's a different type. But yeah, there's less scope within you. There's less accessibility within you once we start to really raise our vibration. And yeah, part of that process is developing awareness. It is okay to have a challenging thought. It is okay to have challenging feelings. They need to be acknowledged. They need to be worked through. They need to be loved and healed as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Sarah. And yeah, do you feel it's the right time for the group clearing?
Sure, definitely.
Thank you.
Let's do it. Okay, so what I would actually encourage everybody to do is within themselves, just feel into any fear. Fear and generally fear will come from feeling unsafe. There's an aspect of feeling unsafe within you that's creating space for fear to be there. The lack of trust, the interference of knowing that you're looked after, that you're protected. So I want you to feel into that sense of fear. I'm just going to bring in the light a little bit more, brighter, bring in the light flame more intense. Bring in the light of home. Anchoring that into Mother Earth and expanding that light out. And we've got quite a few of the ascended masters and archangels showing up for today's clearing, which is beautiful. JC and Mary Mags are front and center. And again, just feeling into the fear. Worst case scenario. Letting it really come forward within all levels of your being. And I'm going to ramp up that light flame. All contracts, those thousand agreements, keeping the frequency of fear embedded within their being. Release, release, release. All discarnates looking into the frequency of fear. Everybody looking up, looking up. Loved ones, ascended masters, archangels, as well, these beings home to the light. All discarnates looking into fear, looking up, 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 up. All discarnates looking into fear. Not your body, not your body. Someone waking up, looking up, looking up. There we go. All discarnates, there we go. Brighter, all the way through. All entities within all aspects of the group's being, looking into the frequency of fear, fear of the unknown, fear of death, feeling unsafe, unstable, insecure, fear, putting up all the fear, all the entities looking into the fear, into the light plane. Smaller, bring it in, smaller, freeze. All contracts, those vows and agreements, keeping these frequencies lodged within their being. Release, 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 release. All entities within all aspects of their being, including internal, external, in between. Brighter, more intense. All entities looking into fear, all aspects of fear, identify, get into the white flame now, freeze. Release, 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 all contracts, those vows and agreements, keeping these frequencies lodged within their being. Release, 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 release. All thought entities and elementals within all aspects of their being, the arsenal, the crown. Release, 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 spitting that out. Spinning down 11 to the speed of light, more intense, more intense, more intense. Just I would welcome everybody to really use your breath at this point. So slow, deep breath in through the nose. A nice big belly breath in through the belly and breathing out through the mouth. And just allow your breath to help facilitate that shift in energy. Freeze. All contracts, vows, agreements, all cords, attachments, and addictions to these frequencies, these beings. Release, 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 release. Release all cords, attachments, and addictions to fear. All dark thoughts, interferences, and demonic things, internally and external, they're being including the in-between. Get into the white flame now, now. Freeze. Smaller, 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 smaller. Pulling. All contracts with vows and agreements keeping these frequencies lodged within their being. Release. Thank you, thank you, thank you, all the way through. Right. Spinning it down. Okay, any remaining dark force interferences, all dark force interferences. We've got quite a few that are actually just ready to go, which is awesome. Coming forward into the light flame. Release, 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 release. All cords, attachments, and addictions to these frequencies. Release, release, release. Ramping up that white flame, more intense, more intense, more intense, more intense. All remaining cords, attachments, and addictions to the frequency of fear. Entities, discarnate, dark force interferences. Release, 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 release. Including all implants, devices, mechanisms, activators, or coding of fear. Activating the entities. Release, 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 release. Just going to call in the galactic vacuum. Let's just get this right out. And we've got JC showing up in the heart chamber here, looking at the coding of fear through the heart chamber. All implants, imprints, devices, templates, or coding of fear. Feeling unsafe, fear of the unknown, fear of the dark. All templates of fear. Release, 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 release. Into the white flame now. Freeze. Thank you. All contracts, vows, and agreements, release. All coding. You've fragged to move your clothes, release, 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 release. Any remaining implants of fear through the brain, through the nervous system, and spinal cord, release, 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 release. Right up, all the way through. Stay with the energy, stay with the energy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Spinning that out, 11 to the speed of light. So again, just use your breath, taking in a long, slow, deep breath. In through the nose, out through the mouth, feeling the belly rise and fall on the inhalation, exhalation. Just allow your breath to really carry through that shift the release within your nervous system, your whole being. Bringing in that opalescent karmic flame, any remaining frequencies, hooking it into the fear. Right into the ajna, or programming or coding of fear. Release, 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 including any remaining thought entities, elements, or called and track safe thousand agreements. Release, 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 release. Okay, I will just go back to what is through the endocrine and the adrenals. Let's just have a look at whatever is left there. Release, release, release. The remaining entities discarnate, looking into adrenal. It's like adrenal fatigue from that fear. Release, 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 release. Release, release, release. Yeah, it's just like they're moving through the layers now. There's just more and more layers, but it's definitely getting lighter. Just coming back to the heart again now. So feeling into your heart space, feeling into the love that you have for your family, your life, your loved ones, your pets, your home, your vocation, just feeling into the love that you have for your life, for divinity, your relationship to divinity, your community. Feeling into the love, the appreciation and gratitude you have for all of the blessings, all of the lessons, and allowing that heart center to really activate, strengthening your light, strengthening your love, strengthening your divine power. And it's going to bring that cord up through your heart, through your crown into seventh plane of consciousness, allowing the divine pouring through the crown, flooding your heart with divinity, divine love, divine light, divine power. Feeling that flooding through the front and the back of your heart. The peace, the freedom, the joy that is available to you in any given moment, because that is who you are. Remembering the truth of your existence, the truth of who you are. And every time you connect into that truth, it amplifies your power, it reconnects you with your power. Recognizing that you are a multi-dimensional being, and we have lots going on simultaneously all the time, and it's okay. It is okay to have challenging feelings. It's okay that we even have entities here, but we're going to kick them out now. And you have the power to do that in any given moment. Thanks, but no thanks. And feeling into the joy and how proud you are of yourself that you can do this. You have the capacity to do this. Spin that out and then balancing. Normalize, balance, stabilize, harmonize. So we're just going to bring in that golden crystal light. Continue on like balance, stabilize, harmonize all the way through. Beautiful. So when you're ready, just breathing through your crown, feeling into that core, that beam of light going up into seventh plane of consciousness, and feeling the energy moving through that central column of light through your being, anchoring that into Mother Earth, and just allowing that to simultaneously run up and down through you and all around you. Taking in a big deep breath as you come back into your body, wriggling your fingers and toes, bringing your awareness behind your eyes. And just come back to your breath. So taking in a long, slow, deep breath in and out. Again, really breathing into that belly, deep belly breath. And another thing that we can do to really help ourselves as we raise our vibration, particularly when we're working with the frequency of fear, is consciously choosing what we want to align ourselves to. And this was a really big thing for me as I was coming out of that space of feeling unsafe and having a real sense of fear, being fear on the planet, fear of being human or just being human on this planet. And it was really getting in the way of me thriving and doing my service and just being myself. And at some point, and even though I knew that I had this fear and I was like, oh, why did I come here? Why am I doing this? At some point, I had to decide that I just had to get on board. I had to choose to feel safe because I knew that I don't have anyone coming to murder me. I'm here to live my purpose. Even though I've experienced lots of trauma and been killed more ways than I can even imagine through the trauma of being myself and everything that invited in past life. I'm not talking past life now. This is soul memory. This is deep level fear and feeling unsafe within our being because we've experienced it in previous lifetimes. And even though we don't consciously remember that, we do subconsciously on a soul level. So at some point, I just had to go, you know what? I've chosen to be here. I am safe within my body. I am my protector. I am divinity in my body. This body was gifted to me, and I want to use my power. I want to use my power for good. I want to give myself the freedom I deserve. And so I had to choose. I just had to choose that I'm safe. I am safe. I know that I'm safe. And I want you to feel that in your base chakra, bringing your awareness into your base. I am safe. I am my protector. As I align myself to divinity, I'm taken where I need to be. I'm always in alignment with my highest good. And feeling into the relief, feeling into the freedom within your base chakra, the expansion of your base chakra as you let go. Fear contracts, love expands. So I want you to feel into the love within your, again, your life, your humanness, being on this planet. You chose to come here for a reason, and embracing that lesson. We're all here learning. I choose to feel safe in my body. I choose to feel safe on this planet. I choose to feel safe in my life. Therefore, I am. Owning that in your base chakra, and feel your base expand. Feel it strengthen. You're getting a helping hand from Melchizedek, who's now stepping forward and working on your base chakra. Feeling into the joy of your expansion. Allowing yourself to stretch out, take up space. Feeling safe in your offering, in your existence. You are an internal being, an eternal being. And just coming back into the heart now and feeling the gratitude of the blessings on offer for you here today, the shifts, the realizations, the access to more of your own power, the joy of this community, and Monsef's beautiful offering. How are we all feeling?
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Sarah.
No.
Yeah, it was powerful, and toward the end, there was like a feeling of freedom, empowerment, and also there was like a more deeper realization that uh, when I embody the vastness of my truth of who I am, like the interferences, those situations that appear like challenging, they are just details, but like I am much more powerful than those. And
Absolutely.
that was really great, and it's really great to feel that. Yeah, thank you.
Mm.
And
My pleasure. And you, I would just want to highlight, you are absolutely right. You are more powerful than any of these beings, than any of them combined. They use fear and they use intimidation to keep you stuck in thinking that you're stuck, but you're not. And this power, your power, is available to you in any given moment. So yeah, thank you for mentioning that, because it's true.
beautiful, thank you. And yeah, so everyone, we'd love to hear your feedback. You can type it on the chat box or on on the chat box on Zoom or on YouTube. And we have Sarika. She wrote absolutely amazing, lots of expansion.
Brilliant. Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, and also we'll start taking questions in a little bit. So just a reminder, everyone, you can raise your hand by pressing *9 on Zoom. No, not *9 on your phone if you are on the phone. And if you are on Zoom app, you can click on reactions, then raise hand. Also, you can type your questions on the chat boxes on Zoom and on YouTube. Paul, you wrote very powerful. I felt huge clearing. Thank you, Sarah. And before we take questions, I would love if you can tell us about the offer that the packages that you are offering. So there are 60-minute one-on-one intuitive energy clearing session, and also meditation. I am safe. It's a subliminal meditation that includes 4 tracks and also a guide, PDF guide. And I will post the link. The link is on the chat boxes on Zoom and YouTube. And the link is yourdivineuniqueness.com/Sarah1, yourdivineuniqueness.com/Sarah number 1, SARAH and number 1. Or you can click on the special offer button, which is on the live events page, later on the replay page, and also the link on YouTube video description. So yeah, Sarah, I would love if you can tell us about these packages.
Yep. So in a one-on-one session, it's a 60-minute session, so you get a whole lot more of, that was just one component, like I said at the beginning, clearing interferences is just one aspect of the healing work that I do. But we can absolutely, if fear was a thing that you were really stuck with, then we'd look at all of the components that contributed to that fear being created within you, and why you're buying into that belief system or narrative. Where did it come from? Why? And you actually get the recording from the session as well. So plus homework. All my clients are given divinely channeled homework. It's not from me, it's from them. But it's designed to help you continue on your journey post-session. And so is the replay. So the replay you have to download, and you can repeat the replay of the clearing as often as you want. Once it's created, it's there in time and space for you to receive as much as you want. And the energy of the replays are always just as powerful, sometimes more powerful actually, in the ways that you can show up to meet that energy. You can just keep receiving and receiving. So yeah, you get the replay, you get your homework, you get a full session. The subliminal meditations I have created, or I'm starting to create, because the healing component is just one aspect. The actual up leveling of our subconsciousness is another huge aspect that still needs a lot of attention. And that's, it's great to do all the clearing and clearing and clearing, but in my own journey, I was doing this and I was doing it for many, many years, and I got great results. Like, I was really shifting stuff, but not enough. I wasn't getting the change that I wanted in my life. I wasn't getting all the good stuff. And I cracked the poos with the divine. I was like, well, what do you want from me? And so then I came across body at one point. I was like, oh, clear, just get it out. I gung ho for like 6 months in COVID. And then my guides went, what are you putting in? And I was like, what do you mean? What am I putting in? What am I putting in? What am I putting in? Put it in. So then I had to explore what that concept was. And it was the subconsciousness. My subconsciousness wasn't up leveling to the same degree that my clearings were moving. So what I loved is what I realized, that as I started working with the subliminal meditations, because I'd cleared so much, the up leveling was happening quite quickly, which was amazing. When we still have a lot to clear within our being, just trying to do a subliminal on top without doing the clearing work, it takes longer. There's more resistance. Think of your whole being as a bit more dense, or the lower vibration. When you clear it and you're a high vibration, or you're a clearer vessel, it just drinks it in. Doesn't mean to say there isn't resistance. There still can be resistance, because remember, the subconsciousness is a very powerful aspect of our being, and subliminal work and these types of meditations just go straight to the source of that subconsciousness to change the story, change the narrative. So what I've included for today is the feeling unsafe. It's working on the feeling unsafe. So there is a script that I've included, so you can read the affirmations, and so some people are like, they don't want to look at the affirmations, they just want to pump it straight into the subconscious. I'm a big believer of consciously embodying what you're trying to create and move forward in. So I actually encourage you to look at the affirmations and to have them visually around you on a daily basis. And it's a meditation that you can do every day. You could do it all day if you wanted to. The 4 tracks that are in there, they're silent. So I realized I couldn't, when you're sleeping, your subconsciousness is still processing away, doing its thing. So I created a silent subliminal so that you can actually listen to that when you're sleeping and you sleep properly, but you're still feeding your subconsciousness this new positive affirming narrative. So you've got, I think there's a delta, alpha, theta, and there's one more. I always forget one, guaranteed. It's always a different one too.
Maybe better.
And they've all got different music to depending on, you know, sometimes I like to do it when I'm working, sometimes I like to do it when I'm meditating. So there's a brain frequency and a track to support you with whatever activity you're doing, whether it's meditation, deep sleep, getting some work done. And you don't need to be focusing on it. You just need to expose yourself to it. The more you can expose yourself to these meditations, and then again, consciously, you know, accept and align yourself to that truth, the faster it will work for you. So, but it's a really beautiful complementary aspect to the healing work to help you continue to receive and create shifts for yourself in between sessions or just on a daily basis as part of your self-love or learning to self-love and your daily routine. So yeah, they're the 2. I think I've put just as a little gift, if you do want to do a one-on-one session, I just wanted to gift you that meditation. If doing the healing work isn't an option right now, then by all means, I wanted the meditations to be really affordable and accessible to anyone who was interested. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sarah, for offering both. And yeah, I totally agree with you with the meditation. It can really, like you mentioned, make the clearing like much more deeper and much more powerful. So thank you very much, and also thank you for offering it alone or included with the session. And yeah, and also I'm glad you are offering one-on-one session, and it's 1 hour because, like we mentioned, and you mentioned also earlier that at some point it can be very, very helpful to have someone to guide us through certain issues, certain energies that we need to clear when we feel, when it seems like we are stuck on our own. And so, yeah, thank you for the work you are doing and offering your support to our audience. Yeah, and so again, everyone, so I invite you to sign up for one of these 2 packages, and the link again is yourdivineuniqueness.com/Sarah1, yourdivineuniqueness.com/Sarah and number 1, SARAH and number 1. Or you can click on the special offer button, which is on the live events page, later on the replay page, and the link also on YouTube video description and the chat boxes on Zoom and YouTube. And yeah, I want to, so Jesse, we will take your question. Just want to share a few feedback. Arietta on YouTube, beautiful and very empowering, yummy energies. Thank you. That was about the group clearing. And Stephen, first of all, thank you. I had a huge clearing. Everything was running like a film reel. I could hear sound. It sounded like a film on fast forward. I heard someone say thank you. I also felt the clearing through my feet.
Beautiful. I have been told I work really fast. I contributed to the fast forwarding. No mucking around here.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Stephen and Arietta. And yeah, so Jesse, can you please unmute yourself?
Hi, that was awesome. Oops, sorry. Yeah, so it covered, I'm not sure whether it covered all of it. I got interrupted as well. So that I don't hear myself saying things, but others are feeding back. It's always the negative. I pick up on the negative things. So it's not so much the emotions anymore. I've done so much work. But so what you were saying is that it kind of gets into a loop, isn't it? It's like an addiction to that feeling. Yeah. I think that's where I am.
Yeah. And so then I would recommend getting some help in clearing the addiction to that frequency. So that is a thing. You can get support in clearing the addiction. So that creates more space within your being to then choose something more positive. So it doesn't mean all the work is done. It just means it creates space within you to have more accessibility to your power and the truth of what's really going on here for you to have a more empowered choice. Anytime we're working with addictions, it's a tough frequency to overcome, and we can be addicted to emotions, and emotions are food for them. So do you know what I mean? It's a very multi-layered thing. There's so much we can be addicted to that sometimes we just are addicted to it because it's part of our identity. And that's how we relate to ourselves and our place in the world. Like, it doesn't always make sense. There's nothing logical or rational about that. It's just a coping mechanism. We're in survival, and it validates how we're feeling. So it is like, I totally get when we feel stuck, when we feel overwhelmed, when we're lacking the capacity within ourselves to make a different choice. That's when I would say get a clearing or learn how to do it on yourself. That's your other option. You're more than capable of doing that. There's so much free stuff out there too. So practice. You are the perfect canvas to be practicing anything on. When you have a thought and you know that it's not a healthy thought, or it's not a thought that comes from self-love or self-respect or self-worth, strong self-worth, then just, even for now, it's like just go, all right, well, there's an entity attached to that. I don't know how, I don't know why, and I can't see it and I can't feel it, but I just know because I know I don't want to feel this way, but I'm feeling it. So then use those techniques. You can use the white flame, activate your heart, feel into the love space within you, the love for your life, the love for your loved ones, anything to get that heart center activated and strengthened. Again, I do want to emphasize, if that's tough, then get some help, like get a clearing to allow some support to come in and shift that heaviness for you.
So the subliminal, is that enough to help shift that?
It will, but it will take longer. It's the same as anything. Like, if you just did healing without the support to the subconsciousness, it just takes longer. And I've experienced that. I experienced that for myself. So it's when we put the two together, that's when we can really fast track our results. With this type of when we're feeling addicted to negative thoughts, it can be really hard to disconnect from that, particularly when we feel like there's no escape. So for me, if I was working with you in a session, I'd give you some techniques to then continue working on when you got home or after the session, how to work with your mental body to strengthen your mental body so that you have more accessibility within your thoughts and have more space to recognize what's going on. So again, when we come back to that level of self-awareness, it is okay that we have these thoughts. It is okay that we have these addictions, but it's what are we going to do with it now? And then it's just one thing at a time, one step at a time, one moment at a time. That's all we have. And that's all we need to be working through it. The subliminals will absolutely help. And it may just take a little bit longer, but it will create, what it will do over a period of time is it will turn that dial of the addiction or the negative thoughts down. So if feeling unsafe is your thing, because remember, we want to target that specific frequency. So the one that's on offer today, that's the feeling unsafe. So if it's the feeling unsafe that we're really struggling with, then consistently doing that meditation over time will turn the dial down. You'll still need help in clearing that out, whether you do that yourself or whether you get someone else to help you with that. My advice would always be together, do that together with yourself and someone else. To really make the whole thing. Yep. Sorry.
How does the hertz on the different levels, how does that work?
So the hertz, I've created a binaural beat. So what it actually does is stimulates the brain waves to enter a certain frequency. So when we talk about like a 10 hertz, then we're dropping into, I'm testing my memory now. I think that was
It was 4, 14, and 30.
4 is theta, 30 is
Better.
not gamma. Is it beta? That's right, beta. I'm testing
And
my memory.
alpha.
I usually
Alpha
have
was
it
the
written down
14.
in front of me. But so what we're doing is we're activating our brain to enter into a brain state of where we want to be. So as an example, beta, you would listen to that when you're getting some work done, or when you're out and about, you're really active, and it helps. Like you might be down at the shops listening to your meditation in a better frequency, and you're like, oh, what was that thing? Oh, and it just pops straight in because your whole being is on, like it's really it's activated. Your mental body's activated, your brain is activated, and you're performing in a way that you want to show up, if that makes sense. So
Okay, awesome.
versus if you wanted to do a meditation and get yourself ready for sleep, then you would use theta, or so I think I've done theta at 4 hertz.
Yep.
Or 5, and delta is at 3. So delta is the lowest, like that's when you go into a deep sleep. So and then there's no brain waves for the silent, it's just literally the subliminal, which you can't hear. Completely silent, there's no brain waves, it just lets you sleep as you drink in those affirmations.
Awesome. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Beautiful. Thank you, Jessie. And also thank you, Sarah. Yeah, I had a question earlier, but I forgot to ask it. Is when we have this connection or interference, are these parts of some contracts that we set before incarnation, or is it just something that comes along the way?
They definitely can have contracts connected to them, yes. And I figured that one out the hard way too. When I'm trying to clear them and they don't clear, I started to just go process of elimination. Why are you not moving? Why are you not letting go? Because it can be more than just the contracts that are actually keeping them embedded. There can be power packs, there can be, curses, there can be all sorts of stuff, all weird, crazy stuff. There is so much more to our existence than we think, and then it just became a process of elimination as to why. And then also intuitively, usually I'm just shown, like, why is this not shifting? And then it will come through, so we'll work on that and shift it. But yes, we can have contracts, and we can make agreements or vows as well, vows. And so what they do, and this is probably more for well, any entity or dark force can do this for us, but also this is where the implants and the ET aspect, or the galactic beings, can serve us as well, because they come in and hold that frequency for us. So we've agreed to it, or we've chosen this as a frequency to learn and grow through. So it gets embedded, and they hold it to keep it there until we wake up to the truth of who we are. So it's something that we've done. But in saying that, we can also do it because we've done it out of fear. Like, we did it very reactively on a much higher level. That quite often in a session we'll discover a higher aspect that's still holding an old paradigm or a frequency, or a way of being, or a mission even, that is very much in opposition of what we're trying to achieve now. But they think that they're activating or holding that for us for our highest good, because that was the mission that they were given. It's like, well, no, the mission changed and we're going in a new direction, and we need to release that. So there's just so many ways in which it can be embedded, or why it's there. Yeah, so it's not always just, oh, you need to go now. Can be sometimes, but if it's really stubborn or resisting, then we need to look at why and clear that as well.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So thank you so much, Sarah. And Stephen here. Can these contracts be from past lives and other planets or universes?
Absolutely. Yeah. So, like, as a soul, this is just one stop. This is one playground that we come to learn from or through. So that doesn't mean that everything that we've experienced elsewhere got left at the front door when we came in. It usually comes with us, but it'll be ordered by what we've chosen to learn through all the frequencies or the lessons, is usually the priority of how it shows up. But yes, it can be off-planet karma, it can be off-planet interactions, other beings, other species that are contributing to frequencies that are stuck, entities or dark forces. We can, I've had several clients that have been caught up in galactic wars, and then they've got a target on their back and don't understand why. They've had, just so much bad luck or can't escape. And particularly, they can be the recipient of some pretty epic psychic attack and mental body attack as well. And it's just a torture piece. Whatever they've done somewhere else has got them caught up or embedded in a frequency that they just can't quite get out of. So yeah, like I said, I couldn't make this stuff up if I try. Some of the stuff that I sound like, holy moly, I'm just not that imaginative. It's pretty fascinating. But yeah, I mean, we're co-creating. We are literally co-creating every minute of the day. And we've chosen what we want to work through, and whether we consciously understand that here or not, it's just part and parcel of what we're dealing with. And there's no right or wrong in that. There's actually just, there's learning and gratitude in the learning. And yeah, the more that we look at those shadow aspects, the more liberation is on offer, which I love. It's why I love working with this shadow aspect so much. It actually offers us so much.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, the more we awaken to our truth, the more like the veil is removed, and we can see more and more of the true reality. So thank you for that, and thank you, Stephen, for your question. Paul, he wrote, will the clearing in today's Zoom meeting also work for people watching the replay later? Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. What I find fascinating with this work, and I've done, Zoom work and healings and meditations and clearings for quite a long time on this platform, and the replays, some of the feedback has been phenomenal in the way they receive through the replay. And I remember when I first started doing it in meditations and clearings in this way, and I was like, is it really going to work? And the divine were like, just do it. And then the feedback started coming through, and they're like, oh my God, I had even more shifts in the replay. And I was like, oh, thank God. So it's just as powerful. Sometimes the feedback is it's even more powerful. And the reason that is because you're showing up differently. So if you did the live and it triggered stuff and you moved through stuff and you cleared it and then you came back again, you're doing it on another level. The other feedback that I've had too, because quite often in my clearings, people just get knocked right out and they wake up at the end and go, damn it, I couldn't stay awake as hard as I tried. So then when they go back and do the clearings, the replay, they might hear or receive something in a different way versus the first time. But yeah, that time-space dimension reality, it's created, it's there, and the recording, you go straight into that energy again. So it's phenomenal. Do I understand how it works? No, that's the divine's job. I leave it up to them. I don't question it. I just have deep appreciation for it.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Sarah. And thank you, Paul, for your question. And yeah, so Sarah, thank you so much for
My
everything
absolute
today.
pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it was really a great pleasure to have you today. I really loved everything you shared. It was a very inspiring call. The group clearing and healing was really powerful. So thank you for that. And also thank you for the support you are offering to our audience through the one-on-one session and the meditation.
Yes, I hope everyone enjoys, and yeah, thank you for having me. Thank you for everyone showing up, and thank you to everyone listening on the replay.
Yeah, beautiful. And Paul here, God bless you, Sarah. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you. And yeah, so thank you so much, everyone, for being here with us today, co-creating with us this experience. And again, I invite you to sign up for one of the two packages that Sarah is offering to us. And the link is on the chat boxes on Zoom and YouTube. And also you can click on the special offer button, which is on the live events page, later on the replay page, and also the link on YouTube video description. And it is yourdivineuniqueness.com/Sarah1. yourdivineuniqueness.com/Sarah and number one. SARAH and number one. And yeah, Kim, sure, thank you. So yeah, thank you again, everyone. I'm sending you so much love, and I will see you on the next call. Bye-bye, everyone.